Freljordian welcome.
Yes, a true Freljordian welcome indeed. Welcome to Voices of the Old Ones. I'm Jankie, and I'm joined by my co-host Gomez.
Hello!
And today, we're going to stray a little bit from Runeterra, the card game, although we will talk about it. And we're going to talk about X Arcane, the whole of the Riot event, or near enough. We'll probably won't talk about the content in the other games.
Let's face it. If you listen to our content, it's about Legends of Runeterra. You know about this event. It's been plastered everywhere. Like even in isn't that Times Square or something? Like they've literally just done so much advertising on this. If you don't know about it, you've been hiding under a rock.
Finally, there's only 1 degree of separation between the League of Legends universe and Fortnite.
That's what, the fact that they've even got things going on in Among Us, little skin, it's crazy, but I love it at the same time. So it's amazing.
Well, so it's and Apex as well.
And everything.
Yeah, everything.
Literally, under any corner of the globe, you must know about this event going down, and the fact that that Riot has put out a Netflix series, and yeah, that's what we're going to talk about. If you've not watched it, if you've not watched all the episodes 1 to 3 at the moment is what's out currently. Please, spoilers are going to be here, so if you don't want to get anything spoiled, tune off, go watch, come back. There we go.
The important thing for people who haven't watched it yet is it's so worth your time.
Oh yeah,
it is so good. Not even just for people who like Legends of Runeterra. So bring the family.
Yeah, no, literally, you can watch this. Some people were asking me, somebody on Twitter was who knows me, was just like, I don't really follow what's his face, League of Legends lore or anything like that. Should I actually bother watching it? And I was like, yeah, you'll love the art style and you'll love the storytelling in it. So 100%, yes, you don't have to have come from any of the games to watch it and enjoy.
Yeah. So, with people who haven't seen it, away.
Yes.
How was your experience of the roller coaster that is the first 3 episodes?
Well, obviously, for me, the series didn't really start until episode 2 when Heimer walked through the door.
Yeah.
No, but joke. No, literally, from the first episode, just they did an amazing job, and the storytelling and the emotion, the emotional journey of which it takes you on, truly fantastic. Yeah, in terms of episode 3, where the real emotions start to hit, there's so many people who are saying oh, Jinx is such an idiot, why did she do the things that she did, and things like that, literally, why didn't she just stay away, and that, but it's just I feel like the people who are saying things like that don't know what it's like to be the younger sibling. Like me being the youngest of 3 brothers, I actually know the feeling of feeling left out and wanting to help and wanting to get involved. So I 100% sympathize. I just feel so bad at the end.
The third episode, we've known that Jinx had this backstory that we hadn't known about for a while, because Swain has voice lines with pretty much every character in League of Legends where he peers into their backstory and he mutters bollocks about it, and the Swain voice line for Jinx is, I believe, something on the lines of, there's so much fire, oh, it was all her fault, or something like that. And the added I was not happy at the end of episode 3, but in a good way. So every single character, this is something that impressed me, was every single side character is written brilliantly. That people that you only see in passing. I think one of the members of the council only had 3 voice lines so far, and I really want to know things about them. The
weird robot man?
No, I was thinking of the slightly effeminate blonde dude, but yeah, the weird robot man. So that's a good point, actually. We don't know what that weird robot man is. Do you think that he is another one of the things that is in the art for the 2-mana Ionian card?
I know that people have said this, and I don't know. They could be. It could be. But all we know is that apparently, like magic destroyed his people.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
about all we know. That's all we know about him and his race. Okay, it's that. So
his voice is cool. Anyway,
yeah, no, massively.
the character development of the warden that got betrayed, and the scene of the betrayal, and what I'm trying to say is the entirety of episode 3 was absolutely
Oh yeah, massively.
brilliant.
Yeah.
And the villains, or the supposed villains, of Victor and Silco are really, really good. And I feel like a good villain makes a good story. I want to see more of Silco, and especially Victor.
That's the thing, is that when watching the first 3 episodes, you don't see Victor as a villain. Like, you just... Like, and that's the thing, like, literally, because this is where... obviously, because me coming with absolutely zero League lore, people were saying, like, about, like, Victor's evil, and obviously, like, what we see from the card art of Victor, he looks very villainous in the card art that's you've seen him, like, go before this, and apparently, yeah, things are not going to go well in the episodes, but, like, from what I've heard of his lore, yeah, things are not going to go well for Jace, apparently, so...
Look, there aren't much in the way of, like, actual bad guys in the Runeterra universe. I think it's pretty easy to sympathize with what Victor does, but, like, yeah, he's definitely the bad guy of the story. I would be surprised, at least. Has a very enchanting accent, though. He's very easy to talk to, and easy to listen to.
He's amazing, isn't he? I will say as well, just in terms of the actual, I said, the art style and the graphics and the what went into it is fantastic job. I love the fact, like, going back to my main man Heimer, you never see the man's mouth, but there's so much emotion just in the way they move around his eyebrows and his moustache and everything, and his eyes. It's really well done. I love it.
I love that Heimer canonically has, like, PTSD from the Rune Wars. That's really, like, I wasn't ready for him to go, only I have the burden of time. And then it's like that flashback to Demacia being destroyed. It's like, oh my god, what?
Wasn't so like, how old are you, boy? And then like, well, I'm 300 and something years old, so I think I know what I'm talking about. Yeah, but I'm waiting for the future. I'm just waiting for that future episode where Heimer turns into Doomsayer or Doomsayer from Hearthstone and just goes, I knew it! That's all I'm waiting for. But I do love that is Widget, because I believe the councilwoman, her last name is actually Madada.
Madada, yes.
So there is like a little bit. I want to see if. So I want to know whether Jay is her brother, her father, her son. I want to know. That's the bit I want to know.
Well, she says that she's the poorest Medarda despite being the richest Piltovian, which means that somewhere in the world her asshole brother is going around like, or father or whatever.
Yeah,
actually,
whatever it is, do we know?
Well, it would actually make sense if they weren't alive at the same time, because Medarda is a Piltovian and presumably not. Yeah, I have no idea.
But yeah, no, that's the thing. I just want to know whether or not at any point Jay gets involved. That's what I want to know. But you know, literally, like, it's little details like that. They've done a really good job at just even like the little tiniest of things, like being able to, like, from what you know and what. So obviously, from the group that we see, the initial like family, like the goggles that the guy is wearing, like, you know, you can assume that maybe like Vi might take them in the future.
Yes,
they're kind of like they're similar to the goggles that Vi has. So that's what I mean. It's like it's little details like that they've done a really good job of.
I am all about like good villains building good heroes, because it's like very difficult to build morally good characters and make them interesting. So you need to have morally gray or morally like black characters to define the really morally good ones usually. And the dimensions they're giving to Jinx's character is extra special for making Caitlyn and Vi matter.
Well, the thing of it is like knowing what Jinx is like you can see how when watching these episodes, and like I can't wait to see like the story that goes like a 100% into it. But you can see at some point how mentally she's just gonna snap and break and just become mental. Like
Yeah.
you can see it, you can see it happening. So I love every aspect of what they've done with the series. I can't wait to see. Obviously, these are only the first 3 episodes. There's going to be more of it. It's why like you're watching it and you start thinking to yourself, like, I really hope that they love this so much that they decide to expand it like beyond um Piltover and Zon and like kind of like do this for other regions so we get to see the backstories being done like this of like other champions as well. I'd love to see like, it's like
Oh yeah.
the whole universe and lore being
I would
done.
love to see Ionia Noxus, that
Mm,
whole invasion, maybe Bilgewater,
mm,
just as a whole, because Bilgewater has just like got a lot of interesting stuff going down.
mm.
I
But yeah,
with the
fantastic.
enormous success of Arcane as a whole so far, I really hope that they put something else into the woodwork.
Yeah, and yeah, like but I said, it's just all I can say is fantastic job from the way it begins and everything to the way it's the way that like that the stories the way they've perfectly intertwined the stories is like so good because obviously like the place that they're robbing is Jace's, and then we get to kind of like see that from from the other angle in the second episode, or was it at the end of the first where you get to see
The
that
second
it
episode,
was like so it's the nice like intertwinedness of it is they've done a fantastic job.
I
Go
I
ahead.
think I have a funny feeling about the way one of the way that this is going to go, but I might be wrong. I was wrong between episode 2 and 3. Like they
Mm.
blew my expectations out of the water completely. You don't really, well, I suppose you don't really play League of Legends. Do you know who Warwick is?
I have heard and I believe that is what the guy who's taking the potion is gonna be or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, the corpse of their like father fill in.
Mm,
I think Silco's going to turn that into Warwick, but I don't know what you've heard, but the thing that's got me thinking, got me like so hooked on the idea. I watched episode 1 and 2 twice, so I had the opportunity to like look back because one of my friends wanted to watch it with me,
yeah.
and they called him, I think it was like the Hound of the Underground in episode 1, which is I think actually Warwick's title in League of Legends.
So you think that could be like
I
a little calling that means that he is gonna become like because I heard that the little rat that they experiment on to begin with is gonna become Twitch.
That's totally possible. I wouldn't be surprised if they did that.
That's what I mean. It's little tiny facts like that, but
It's me.
but I feel like they've done such an amazing job of doing like just
Yeah.
everything amaze balls, and I can't wait for them to do more of the story to unlock more of what because obviously we're gonna get to see like it going into the future and what because the thing is when I first watched it and saw those crystals and saw like what they did to the building to begin with, like I was just like, is it? I just thought like at some point are we going to see because we got to see like, the fist glove things that their father figure kind of had.
Yeah.
Like I was thinking at some point like is like are those crystals going to end up in that and that's how Vi because basically the way that the building gets destroyed is kind of like how Vi punches. So I was feeling like those were going to go into her gauntlet type
It
things.
does look very similar to her level 1 art, doesn't it? Like
That's what I mean. That's what I was thinking was going to happen. But obviously, like the story's gone the way that it's gone. But we're going to be seeing the future when that technology is more around. I assume.
yeah, I think Hextech is largely what Piltover runs off of in current
Yeah.
day. So,
Mm.
but I think I was under the impression that Heimerdinger had to pretend he was human using some kind of magic.
Mm.
So at some point, does Heimerdinger get dishonored in this series or something? Like that's something I'm interested to see. Because in the comic book with Jinx, Heimerdinger and Ziggs both admit that they're using some magic called Glimmer to look human.
Right. Okay.
But Heimerdinger admits to Jace that he's 300 and something years old, so that's probably not the case in Arcane at least.
Yeah. Well, I
Uh,
mean, like we're seeing him as he is. In that, I don't know whether or not, as you say, whether or not people are actually seeing him as human.
If they are, like, surely Jace would ask some questions.
I mean,
I'm
you'd
307 years old. Sure thing, old man.
think. just knocks it off as just being just like some just like, oh, he's a crazy old man. He's losing his mind.
To be fair, what is stranger, him saying I'm 307 years old, or him coming in and going, the body is in captivity, but the mind is free to roam. Oh, I do love a conundrum.
That's this little bit I loved. I loved Heimer's character the whole way through.
Yeah, they gave depth to a character that was very two-dimensional before, so I thought Heimerdinger would just end up being comic relief, but he's actually like driving the story, which I love.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know whether or not they are gonna whether or not they're just gonna have the glimmer bit as being something whereby some people see him as human or not, or whether or not they're just completely disregarded that. I don't know, or whether or not that was more in the past, like even more so in the past than what it is. But if you said that's in the comic with Jinx, then yeah, I honestly don't know.
Yeah,
I'd be lying if I said I knew.
I hope they don't screw our boy over. They dishonor him. He's exiled out of Piltover. Yeah, and he has to pretend to be human.
We'll have to see what happens because that could happen, as you say, that he might come back like appearing human. I want to like because we get to see like the inner works of the university or like the academy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually wondering at any point whether or not we're gonna see Von Yip. Just like even just in the background, not like getting to see him main man, but getting to see him in the background or something. I'd love.
That would be brilliant. It would have to be modern day though, right? Because it's a cat. I assume
That's me. As it goes on in the future, I just wonder what we're going to see because it's just the fact that we are getting to see some of like the inner workings of the academy. That's why I was curious. But we'll have to see how that goes. But every character has got like really good dimension, as you say. Like even like ones that are just like passing characters who. Like, we don't get to know for very long. They've done a really good job with everything.
Clagger was really likable until he died. The death scenes, by the way, are absolutely brutal. Like, this is, I think it's what? PG-16 or something?
Something
and,
along those lines.
The scene where the blood splatters across Vi's window and, like, the big muscle man, whatever his name is, begins with a Z, I think. Like,
I know who you mean, but yeah.
Goons Echo's father figure. That entire scene is like really pushing the limits of what PG 18
I mean, even the actual death scenes of everyone like a full on pipe going through somebody. And,
yeah,
they take it to the extremes, don't they? Yeah. But the bit that I find like is it was just like so upsetting. It's just like obviously like Jinx having no idea what the hell's happened inside the building because she was blown away from it, and then just being happy that for once it's like she's been trying to make these little things for so long that just haven't worked at all, and now she does one that works, and like she's so happy about it, and then just immediately.
Like she's falling out of the window and there's like sparks around her and she's like delighted, and that's even when she goes up to Vi and she's just like, it worked. My thing actually worked. Like Vi being on the other end of it, knowing what happened on the inside, just like I just felt so bad. I felt so bad for Jinx. Like she didn't know. Okay, she was trying to help, although admittedly her help did. Like all the casualties were on her side. I don't think it did anything to the opposition. It was all her fault. Well, I mean, she burned Singed. Probably gave Singed his name.
I mean, that's
something.
Most likely that's about all that was done. But yeah, I feel like everyone else on that side of the field, like there was no casualties massively there. Happened. Even the big guy who was right next to it, because of obviously the serum, didn't really seem to take too much. Can
we talk about that? The explosion did not affect the purple dude, but then Xander, after he got out of his chair and he was still dead ass human, fist fighting him. Like, what an absolute badass!
Well, he wasn't bad. I mean, all I can think is like maybe did it disorientate him even a little bit? I don't know, but obviously, he kicked ass.
Yeah, no, that was
Massively.
brilliant. And then obviously the stabbing in the back imagery from Silco, and like the flashbacks to when he was in the water and whatever happened between those two. I assume they weren't literal brothers, and it was like
I mean, yeah, I don't think so, but you never know.
mm,
Like, obviously, it was all about the movement of Zon trying to basically have war against Piltover, and like he just decided. Like, I'm guessing that Silco just was like obviously, as you can see, like wasn't gonna let it lie, whereas like Zonda really like realized that we can't do this. We're all gonna die. Like
mhm.
we need to stop this war and try to like have some kind of peace treaty with them.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it was crazy.
I was actually really sad when that investigator died. The one with the accent that he made the peace treaty with. She seemed like a very cool character.
I mean, she like it's one of those things whereby like I felt like she was gonna be a character who was gonna be around for a little bit.
Yeah, she
If,
seemed
if,
very important, and then she just died.
if there was a character who wasn't gonna be important, I would have said it was her lackey.
Yeah, yeah.
Which, yeah, again, like that just like goes on to another thing. Like what do you think the reason is why he kind of took Vi away from that situation with like chloroform, basically? Like what do you think the reason is like why he didn't?
Well, he mutters something like, "If he sees you, he'll kill you," or something like that, right? So I assume, especially with like how he threw the money on the ground and how helpless he looked after the situation we saw him in prior, I think he's had like sense knocked into him, and now he's going to be one of the good guys. I presume he looked like he was very, very not happy with what happened.
This wasn't the plan.
This wasn't the deal. Deals change.
Yeah, have your bag of money. But yeah, I said like every aspect of it, like even the small role that Echo played in the first 3 episodes, like kind of like I say small role, but like a relatively compared to everyone else,
Mhm.
like still was like nice character setup and like letting like you see what life was like for him as well. So yeah, just
Echo
like
was so uniquely Echo as well. I don't know what it was about him, but like when I saw him as a kid walking around, his walk animation was really similar to the one in League of Legends, and it was like giving me a headache. I couldn't identify why the way he was walking around was so similar to the way he was walking around in League of Legends. It was uncanny, and I hope someone else like can relate to me on this. But like there was they did too good of job linking his younger self to his older self. It was actually giving me conniptions. I couldn't see exactly why they were so similar, but it was very, very well done on that sense.
yeah.
Um,
Well, all I can say is I am looking forward to the new episodes and whatnot.
oh yeah, November 12th.
Yep. So shall we get? Because it's every weekend, isn't it?
I believe so. Yeah, November 12th and November 20th, whatever that may
See,
be.
the comedy was like I was interested in doing a watch party, and then I realized that for us in the UK, it goes live at like 2 a.m.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not going to be up at 2 a.m. to do a watch party.
It turns out I actually was awake. I just missed it. Like I disregarded it as something that I wouldn't do, and then like after it was done, I was like, oh, I'm awake.
Yeah.
Oops. I've sent you the link to the new cards if you haven't already got them up.
Oh, thank you very much. Yep, so we will go into what this means for Legends of Runeterra, because obviously this whole event is being new things going across the board for everything that's going on, and Legends of Runeterra is getting new cards, which I'll tell you what, yeah, we knew, because there was an article that came out, obviously, that was like definitely came out before it was meant to come out.
Yeah.
It like basically explaining what Jace does and telling us that we were going to be getting 10 new cards, one of which obviously was Jace, and yeah, we also knew that there was going to be. We already knew that Jace was going to have his own boat, and roughly what he did and everything along those lines, like the side that drew him out of the deck. But I'm not gonna lie, like, I was actually expecting at least a couple of those cards not to be P and Z. I was expecting there to be like the majority of them P and Z, because obviously you're putting Jace into the game. You want to put him in with his followers and with maybe a spell or two, which makes sense with him. And I felt like they'd like give a little bit of love elsewhere for just like one or two cards, like one card into somewhere, one card into somewhere else. It's like 6-cost spells that could work nicely with Jace.
Yeah.
But literally, they were all piercing. I was like, what? I mean, I love it.
When I knew we were getting like a relatively small number of cards, I was expecting something like the KDA event where there would be like 6 cards, but they would be all hyper interesting win condition style cards, and it'd be like 4 epics that did stupid things, and then like 1 Jace, and then I think it was Forge Chief or something that I saw, and I was like, okay, well that blows that out of the water. But
Well, it was different. The thing with the KDA one is that at least it was like all different regions. There was only a few cards. It was roughly about the same time of year that this came out. I believe that the KDA event happened like roughly about the same time of year. So that's what I was expecting as well. It's like some crazy cards which did some crazy abilities, but were in a whole bunch of different regions. Yeah. But I can kind of understand that they want to focus in on PNZ for this. And whatnot. So yeah, I can understand it, but at the same time, like I was hoping for other things. But shall we get into the cards?
Yes. I suppose starting from Jace, right?
Oh yeah, massively. So starting from the champion, Jace coming into the game. Said people have talked about him already a bit because we've known, about him for a little while in terms of most of his abilities. So we'll quickly get into it. 4 mana 4/4. When you play him, you get to decide whether or not he has quick attack or challenge, which actually is nice, right? It's one of these kind of things whereby he becomes a champ which is versatile in different situations. I mean, 80% of the time you're probably choosing quick attack because quick attack is such a crazy thing. But the option for challenger is an interesting one just because it's if you were against like the darkness deck and you're against like this is something which stops them from maybe wanting to play Viger on turn 4 if they know you've got a Jace deck and you're on the attack, because they'd be like, wait a minute, if Jace comes down with Challenger, I might be screwed here.
Even then the Challenger isn't that great because like the darkness is usually doing 3 damage at that point anyway because of the 3/2. So that just means you trade champions.
True, but Jace has got a boat, whereas Viger doesn't have a boat.
It's true. Jace does in fact have a boat.
So that's what I mean. It's in that matchup. I don't know. I might actually even consider doing that, just because, the second that the darkness gets out of hand, then you're kind of screwed, right?
True.
So you can't do it. So that's what I mean. But yeah, the fact that he can make different changes, it does. What is interesting about Jace's thing about the fact that obviously he gets keywords upon playing rather than just having a standard keyword anyway, means that he kind of gets made weaker if you were to try to combo him in Feel the Rush or with what's his face, that Thrash, because I'm saying if you were to consider those options, most of the time you're not. I mean, for those options where you're summoning him, and also actually Rekindler wouldn't be too good with him because of the fact that you'd be losing out on a keyword, right?
Oh yeah. Sorry, I when you said Feel the Rush, I heard the other one, the keyword one.
Not God damn it! Give it all. Give it all.
I was doing some Olympic level mental acrobatics in my head to try and figure out what the fuck you meant.
Things that summon champions rather than playing them.
He would just enter as a generic 4/4. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's things like that slightly become he's not too good synergy wise with those kind of things, but he doesn't have to be. He's got his own synergies. He doesn't have to worry about those things. Although I do love the idea of a Freljord deck with him running Winter's Breath and Feel the Rush or Warm Up is cool. For the idea that if you get his level 2 thing and he plays those spells twice, I like the idea of that. But
each round, the first time you cast a 6+ cost spell, cast it again on the same target feels so peculiar. Jace's identity as a card is really weird. So on his first face with the grant me quick attack or challenger, like you said, most of the time you're going to pick quick attack because who's going to give their karma challenger? And and then on his second face, he's I don't know. This is just not how I imagine Jace to be, because Jace is like a top lane bruiser bully kind of thing. He's very adapting. Like I the line of text with the my 6 cost plus spells cast again just feels very strange to me.
Hmm.
I mean,
See,
I don't hate it.
that's funny because you know him
Yeah,
from League of Legends, whereas I don't. So I love this. But as you said, like once he levels up, because to level him up, all you got to do is play 2 6 cost spells, and then he makes an acceleration gate. And when he levels up, the first 6 cost spell that you play every single round happens twice as you sound the same targets. What's important about that is obviously um, certain spells it's not really gonna make much of a difference with. So people have been saying like mini morph with him, but if it's hitting the same target, it'll just turn a 3/3 into a 3/3 again. Uh,
synergy.
the, o- the only reason why that's good is if Lux is on the board, because technically it counts as you using 2 6 cost spells, so you get 2 beams out of it.
Hmm.
But other than that, certain spells like that, like even vengeance or something along those lines. Those really are meaningless with him because being on the same target. Like the only time that it becomes meaningful is if they've got spell shield. Other than that,
Yeah,
meaningless.
very niche situations.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But the acceleration gate that he makes is actually a really nice one. So obviously, like a 6 mana slow speed, give all your allies +2 and quick attack this round if they already have it. So if they already have it or double attack, give them a random keyword instead. So with Jace being on the board, casting this means he's going to cast twice. So you're basically giving your whole board quick attack and something else.
Yeah, like even if Jace sticks on his own, that's a 9/5 with presumably quick attack and 2 other keywords,
Mm.
which is pretty nasty. Like lifesteal, elusive, obviously, scout. There's a lot of like possibilities there. You're rolling twice
Mm.
of getting something really gross.
I really like the idea that of the acceleration gate of using that with somebody like Victor and him. Like no, let's make an arcane deck of using him with Victor. Like the idea of just like those two being able to like Victor being able to basically get an additional 2 keywords for that round. Like if you've already given him some keywords, could be quite funny, as well as the idea of using those with Give It All, as mentioned before at some point, just to give like all the keywords to everyone. I don't know, just could be quite funny.
I, you've got me thinking now. I wonder what kind of keywords what kind of voice lines Jason and Victor are going to have.
I mean, yeah, we'll find out whether
You were my friend.
whether or not they do the keywords before or after the betrayal.
Yeah.
But in terms of what they've done with the rest of the set, amazing job. So the 1 mana Forge Chief, it's one of those cards whereby it's not actually too bad of a 1 cost. So as a 1 cost, 2/1 is already a great stat. But the fact that every single time it strikes, it refills a mana thing. So most of the time, it's probably going to strike and trade and immediately die. But if your opponent's not got an answer on turn 1, like for 1 mana, getting 2 spell mana is not bad.
Yeah, it's I'm trying to think what are there any 5 costs that are like really really gross, like really good at developing? So like this strikes on 1 and then on 2 it strikes again. Is there any like huge punish, like a 5 cost spell that summons a unit?
Uh, I can't think of one right off the top of my head. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
lie.
it lets you get what's it called, the oh bollocks, it lets you cast out of my way early if you're going down that.
Yes.
Perfect.
Uh,
I can't think of anything particularly punishing, but it like I'm sure at some point if even if it's not today, even if it's not when this card releases, at some point this card will probably be very good at ramping into something just that 1 turn sooner.
Well, the thing is, not only ramping, but it could also be good as a general 1 cost, but potentially in a weird Nami deck could be interesting as a 1 cost. Like PNC, it's really weird. Like obviously, it never kicked off, but PNC's got some interesting kind of things with Nami because it's now got this card, but it also had Flash of Brilliance, which Flash of Brilliance was actually really funny with Nami to begin with because it's just it's a very quick way to help try to level her up. And so having another card like this that can kind of help try to level her up
Yeah, yeah,
Like it
that is
could be
true.
interesting to see what that goes. And obviously, like everyone's talking about Jace Lux, which does make a lot of sense. Both champions are working basically off of spells which cost 6, like or more. So it does make sense why people are going down that route. But we'll get into that a little bit more in the future. So going through the cards, we've got the Financier, who's the 2-man, which, yeah, again, great 2-mana card for PNC. Like, literally, this is a card which you could run without, like, not even
Anywhere.
in a Jace deck. Like,
Yeah.
the fact that it's a manifest, a 6+ spell in your regions, the important bit about this card is the in your regions, because obviously we know from the 1-mana card in Demacia, sometimes when it just gives you a random 6+ spell across all the regions, like you can end up with like some dead cards, like in terms of that are not going to help you out ever. Like when obviously like the 1-mana guy, if you're not running a dragon deck or a celestial deck, and he gives you the was it Disguise Descend spell? It's
Hmm.
useless. But the fact that it is within your regions, meaning that you can, depending on what you choose, like this guy is not a bad fit for most things because you're getting to choose out of 3 spells. PNZ obviously like PNZ spells are always going to be in there, which they do have some quite versatile spells in the 6+ range. Like even taking a progress ray for draw, if you need draw at the time of like drawing this guy, say, or if you like grab a Glorious Evolution, like there's certain cards which, admittedly, Glorious Evolution with leveled up Jace is going to be funny. Just the idea of just like that casting twice, all your cards go down by 2 cost.
More flavor wins for Jace literally just being Victor.
Yes, exactly. So, definitely, I think it's a great card. What are your thoughts?
I'm just like perusing what the kind of like card pool would look like for typical regions that you would like stick this in, and it's pretty good. Like given that you take like you get 3 options every
Yep,
single time.
yep.
I regions like Shadow Isles do not have a single bad card in that range. Like they have Piercing Darkness, which is main deck playable, Atrocity, Dawning Shadows, which is just a Vengeance, which is obviously Vengeance, Harrowing, and Ruination. Like pretty much every region has nothing but slam dunks.
I mean, other than Shadow Flare in Ione.
Yeah, well, yeah.
and I guess Ascendance Rise in Shurima if you're not playing Ascendance.
Well, Ionia's is actually kind of shit. Shadow Flare, Ritual of Renewal, Stand United, Vanguard's Edge, Singular Will.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe not for that region in
Yeah,
particular.
that's right. But the fact that you get to choose whenever you're playing this guy, if you're doing anything with PNZ and another region, this guy might just be just like that you sneak in there, just because like it can produce some good things. Like, I like the thing is, I feel like the only good Bandle City one is Minimorph. I'm just trying to think honestly, like what all the other 6 cookers mean. The do 1 damage twice is a bit meh for 7. Treasure Trash might be the only other one that you might choose. Other
I
than that, I feel
already
like
forgot that Treasure Trash existed.
that's what I mean. But that's what I mean. So that's what I mean. Like, but it's choosing the right region with this guy. Potentially, even this guy. I was thinking of a very stupid deck of using Jace with Noxus for a Beardy Man deck, and the idea of this guy giving you another strength in numbers potentially.
Or even Reckoning, right?
Yes, even Reckoning. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like those certain spells could be quite good. So I'm considering maybe a Noxus one. I like the idea of Jace being able to make strength in numbers happen twice potentially or whatnot. But that's what
Yeah.
like I've got so many different ideas that I want to do with Jace. Obviously, like I said, the main one that people are thinking is Lux. But I like to think outside the box.
Yeah, Beardy Man is better. But
Bearded Man is better.
much like the conch dude can like swing games in the early game, I think Pharaoh's Financer will just like steal victories because like where conch finds the perfect answer to like boards ish sometimes, well where the conch man finds like ways to worm your way out of like sticky situations in the middle game. Financer could just find you a win con if you haven't like if your plan A is failing, then suddenly you're a War Mother's deck, you know?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. that's what I mean. Only if you're running Freljord, right? Because
Yeah.
the regions. But yeah, like, even like this card, the next card we were talking about, so the free mana card that they gave the Hex Tech Handler. I love this
No
being
way.
being a Heimer man because anything that's to do with tech, I will always love. And the fact that it's like grant tech everywhere, +1/+1. Once you play the 6-cost spell of this game, like it's such a nice little thing because it's one of those cards whereby it's kind of marrying up other synergies. So it's not just worrying about like the Jace synergy with Lux or with whatever. Like the idea that you could build this in potentially like the originally intended 6+ spell deck, which I believe is Lux and Heimer.
Yeah.
Like a card like this kind of fits nicely into that if you were to go down that route. Which is obviously like the route that they wanted to go down to begin with, because that was the original 6+ spell archetype. But yeah, so like a card like this, I really love the fact that anything to do with tech, give tech everywhere, +1/+1. The fact that Heimer's level up already does like that whenever you play like a tech as well. So, which is when he creates his tech turret, isn't it? I believe he gives them +1/+1. But yeah, the idea of having 3 of these in the deck and being able to potentially get tech up like +3/+3 if you draw all of them could be quite funny.
The wording has me confused. Is it an aura? Is it like, does it have to be in play?
It's grant allies everywhere +1/+1 once you play. I feel like it's an aura because isn't the other? I'm just trying to think like, isn't there like another 6-cost spell guy who is once you do it? He's a Demacian guy who once you play a 6-cost spell. And actually, also, isn't there another the P&Z one, the 4/4 with quick attack? Like, doesn't he go up in damage once a 6-cost spell is played? But it's like an aura thing. Like you don't have to. It's not upon play.
No, that's not what I mean. It's like if the Hex Tech Handler dies, does your tech everywhere lose the +1/+1? Like, is it an aura? Is it stapled to this card?
Okay, now I get you. No, well, it's Grant. It's Grant tech everywhere +1/+1. So I feel like it's just
true.
Once he does it, it's done. Like yeah, so that's the way that I see that as being. I thought you meant like
I hope so.
I thought you meant was it like a thing where like, yeah, don't worry, ignore me.
I get what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah, I very much hope that this is permanent, because like if it's just a like dragon whatever it is, the 2-cost 1/2 where it's like if while I'm in play, like
yeah, no, I feel like it's what you like as long as you play the 6-cost spell, then play this, or like if this guy's on the board and you play a 6-cost, if he dies before you play a 6-cost, then obviously it's not going to work.
Yeah.
But yeah, if he at least witnesses it, then it's all good. And he grants Widget tech everywhere +1/+1.
Bear witness. Yes. The next one, the Pharaoh Sky Cruiser, I would probably condemn to be unplayable. Right? It looks pretty meh.
I'm not gonna lie to you. It is pretty meh. So it's a 4-mana elusive. Grant me +2 once you've cast a 6-cost spell this game. It's a 2/4, so it's got an okay stat, I guess, for an elusive in terms of health stat. But other than that, it's like the cat doesn't even see main play, and the cat is 1 mana less and has got augment and can go up in attack the more created spells that you play.
I really thought that cat would be nuts. Like,
I know, right? With gems. When we first saw it with the idea of the cat with gems, but yeah, you don't really see the cat. Like the cat very rarely gets main played. I'm talking about the 3-mana one, not the 5-mana submersible. Sometimes the submersible sometimes sees play. But yeah, I feel like this enters into that realm where it is potentially an okay, depending on how you build your deck, expedition card, but I don't think that many people are going to be main decking this. Sadly, it's just it's not good enough.
Yeah, that's pretty much all there is to say about that.
Yeah. Now we get onto the boat, which I'm not gonna lie, this man's art looks amazing. Just like his pumble, whatever the shoulder things are called. What are they called?
Pauldrons.
The pauldrons that this man has are amazing, as well as that head.
Jace's dad was like a smarmy asshole. Jesus Christ.
But yeah, no, this actually looks amazing artwork wise of that. So he once he's summoned or like is on summon, draw Jace. But not only that, it does actually have, depending on how you build your deck, quite a powerful attack, which is when he attacks, deal 1 damage to the enemy Nexus for each 6-cost spell that you've cast this game. Bear it like for each 6-cost spell you've played, increases the damage by 1. Bearing in mind that Jace casts 6-cost spells twice, like it's the first one that you play, like, this can get out of hand potentially quickly. Right?
I could very easily see this doing 5-ish damage on average by the time your deck has reached the point in the game where you're comfortable playing this guy. I think he's a pretty decent finisher. I would put him in the same like power category as Jarvan's dad, where like there are certain situations where it just steals games.
Yeah. I mean, I would say he's slightly more powerful than Jarvan's dad. There's a lot of decks which end up like not running Jarvan's dad or only putting him in like maybe as a one-of.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I could see this guy like in the right archetype actually being quite good. The fact that it's upon attack and not upon strike, like as long as this guy can attack forward, he's guaranteed doing damage unless you've got to deny.
Yeah.
And the fact that that damage can go up and up and up, like I actually think he can be like, it's gonna be one of these guys that when he's on the board, he's also a 6/5. Like his stat line, removal spell wise, can be quite hard to deal with unless you've got like something which just straight up kills him.
Mm-hmm.
I would class him in an area just above J4's dad.
Yeah.
I would say that he's
Leviathan adjacent.
He's not. Yeah. I'd say that Leviathan potentially is a bit better, but yeah,
But not by much.
Yeah.
He's
close.
better than the Shen boat, is what we're trying to say.
I mean, no, 100% better than the Shenbo. 100% better than the Shenbo. Yes, that's what I'd say. Like this man can potentially end games depending on how many, just by attacking, depending on how many 6-mana spells you played. Because like by that point in the game, you'd like to think that your opponent's HP would be relatively down. Like considering the fact that let's go into Jace's spell. Jace's like spell, his shock blast does 3 damage to an enemy or the enemy nexus, and then 3 damage to another. The fact that if Jace is on the board and is leveled up, this is doing 6 damage to the enemy nexus.
Yeah.
Plus, it's also meaning that his father's going to be doing 2 damage. Like that's already giving his father 2 damage worth of damage. Which actually, no, correction. If you're using that on his leveled up form, he's already doing 4 points of damage. Because you would have already played 2
true,
to level up Jace before. Like that's what I mean. Like there's some moves which can provide a lot of damage going into core. So
yeah, I could definitely see it. Depends what I don't know what the deck's gonna end up looking like when it's finished. I would be surprised because it will end up containing Demacia, right?
Yes.
And like every Demacia control deck ends up being very board control focused, like with cards like Radiant Guardian and such. And if you're gonna be a board control deck anyway, you usually just win by going face. So I'm not gonna say I'll be surprised if it gets main decked in Lux Jace specifically, but it will probably find a home somewhere. Just like I don't think that deck.
Yeah. So the other cards to mention is obviously like the Forge of Tomorrow, which is a landmark, which has been given to PNZ, which is when I'm summoned, summon a Forge worker who is a generic 3-mana 3/3.
Who's a generic hunk.
I mean, he does look amazing. I'll give you that. Which is a generic 3/3 body, just as a blocker, basically. And when you cast a 6+ spell, destroy me and refill your spell mana. So basically, you're playing this on which for 3 mana, stay on the board for however long they have to stay on. Second that you play a 6-cost spell, you're basically getting half the mana back.
Yeah.
So
this is a -3 cost 3/3. Which I think this card looks nuts. Like absolutely insane.
The fact that it could allow you to basically play 2 6-mana, like depending on like what you're at. So if you're at 6 mana, you can play with full spell mana at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Theoretically, you could play 2 6-mana. You could play 2 6-mana spells on turn 6 with this, right?
Yes, and we saw from Jace's champion trailer that his doubling effect will affect the spell that makes him level.
Yeah. So
So 3
devastating.
6-cost spells on turn 6.
That's what I mean. Like the fact that you can do something like that as early as turn 6 can be crazy, right?
You can imagine a situation where they've got Jace in play and I imagine they won't be main decking Shock Blast, but they've double drawn Jace and like they Shock Blast your face, this thing gets destroyed, and then they Shock Blast your face, Jace levels, and then they Shock Blast your face. And you're just there, you've been shagged for 9 damage, you know, what the fuck just happened? It's turn 6.
What is this?
Where did my board go?
But yeah, what is lovely about this these forge workers, like even the assembly line spell, which is basically like it's one of those kind of spells whereby you could consider playing it just so that you've got balled to be able to defend yourself. So it can help level Lux, it can help level Jace, and still keep a ball. Like it's the whole point of like remembrance, right? Like most of the time, remembrance is there just to put sight on the board so that you can still defend yourself. It's like relatively good on the board so you can defend yourself, and so it's not actually bad. These free frees can become a nuisance.
Yeah, assembly line is. I would rank 2 3/3s higher in most situations than obviously a generic 4 or 5. Like Radiant Guardian is the low roll there.
Yeah,
on 3 anyway. Probably better than the Moose. This card is really comparable to Remembrance, I think, and I would definitely run 6 copies of Remembrance in my Lux deck if I could. So I'll main deck this.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like most of the times when you play a Lux deck, you are main decking Remembrance, and so you definitely could main deck this for a Jace deck. Totally. Even at slow speed, it's still like the ability to be able to like put in blockers is massively important in most, which against like most things. So yeah, massively a great card. And then the last one is the 6 mana focus speed, like the anomaly, which is when you draw or create me in hand, or each round start while I'm in your hand, transform me into a random 6+ spell. So, and the fact that this is not region specific, this is the card which, if people are going to end up running, is going to be the card that you won't be able to play around.
Yeah.
Because it can be anything. Suddenly, out of nowhere, there is, like, this is somebody's who has, like, a Harrowing in hand, who's not playing Shadow Elves, or a Ruination in hand, who's not playing Shadow Elves, but also the idea of, as you say, like, a War Mother's Call without playing. But, like, there's going to be, like, certain things you're not going to be able to play around.
Hextech Anomaly being focus speed. Focus isn't actually a speed, it's just an instruction. It's just look at me. Focus.
Well, to be fair, it's not going to end up being focus speed.
Yeah, it's going
to be whatever speed the spell is. That
it's never going to have a speed. Like they gave it focus just because they could, I guess.
I like the idea of it was like yes, it's focus speed no matter what I turn into. So it just gives you focus speed, like feel the rush or something. Just I now attack.
God, I'm not sure. I don't know how broken that would be. It would definitely be good, but like Hextech Anomaly as is pretty like dreadful, right? It's a meme card.
Oh, it's 100% a meme card. Like because it's the fact that it could just be any 6-cost spell. You never know what the hell it's gonna be. It could end up like turning into bad option after bad option after bad option. Just a Sentence Rise into Shadow Flare into a Sentence Rise. Like you never know what the hell it's gonna do.
It's just there to like live the dream of getting like something like War Mother's Call with your Jace when you're playing Jace Lux. It's like when you're not in the region that runs the big over the top card, it's to live the dream of pulling the big over the top card.
So yeah, definitely, like I said, magnificent job with all of these cards. As we've said, I feel like the Financier is going to be an interesting card to see, like where he sees play, like in like a potentially multiple decks. And obviously, as a Heimer man, I love the Handler. But what are your plans for Jason? What was your initial plans? Like, obviously, people are going to be thinking Lux, but I mean.
My initial plan for Jace is to leave him the hell alone because I hate mirror matches. I hate mirror matches. So just like I did with Aphelios, I'm not going to touch him for a couple of months. I'm going to enjoy the PvE. I'm going to enjoy the 1-player mode until this tide's over.
the one player mode looks nuts as well. We're brush on that a little bit, but yeah, I am personally thinking that I might consider a Shyvana deck with him and go down a dragon route rather than a Lux route.
Mm-hmm.
And the pure only reason for that is so that I'll have access to like cards like Remembrance and whatnot, which might give me a Screeching Dragon. But the slow speed Molten Breath would
Yeah.
be really funny with Jace, just because if he levels up and you get to play that twice, it's one dragon striking 4 times.
I love Molten Breath. Molten Breath control is like, I love that card. I love that card so much.
And the idea of that basically near enough, it, like, depending on what your opponent's playing, could potentially be a Bald Wiper. I'm like, yeah, I'm interested.
Build your own judgment, but they don't need to be attacking.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I'm considering. The one thing again, like maybe we should touch on is maybe one of the reasons he was given Challenger is because if his intended combo is with Lux, I guess Lux's champion spell is a barrier. So the idea of him having Challenger and being able to... That's the only thing I will say is maybe why he can become a Challenger, so that he can barrier himself up with Lux's spell.
No. It's because Stand United is a 6-cost spell. It's for the Shen synergy.
Of course! It all makes sense now.
I mean, unironically, that sounds okay. Wait, it's brilliant, right? So like you attack him with Shen and Jace.
Right.
And then you Stand United them, and then Jace switches them back again. Sorry, yes. yeah. So the higher power unit, Jace on 5 is the one that's doing the challenging.
I know, but but the best bit about Stand Unite is the swapperoo sometimes, because you want to swap like the one that's going to do the most damage.
No. The best bit about Stand United is the animation.
Like, no, so he's just like, I've got a great idea. I'm going to do this swap, and by doing this swap, it means I can win the game. And then Jason's like, aha, no, let's swap
Progress.
I mean, to be fair, if you're on the attack, like, you know, you can do it before you. But it's one of these where you want to do it as the surprise move. The only way that you could still make that work is if is if you went forward, use that move, and then use syncopation.
No, oh yeah, I suppose, yeah.
Because syncopation won't get affected by Jace.
Or if you just have 2 Jaces in play.
Of course.
More shuffling.
But yeah, no, like I mean, actually, technically, I mean, Jace with what's his face, Dawn and Dusk. But no, because the Dawn and Dusk ones won't do anything because like it's always the first 6 cost of the round, isn't it? Sadly.
Yeah.
His other things sadly won't do anything. It's much upset. But I like his design. I like what he can do. I like the idea that there's like somebody other than Karma who's like in basically a different region who can copy spells. And obviously, Karma can copy all the spells, regardless of when they're played or what cost they are. So, like, she is more powerful. But it's just the idea of this and being in a different region. I love it.
Yeah. Also, Karma turned 10, so.
I mean, you know, you gotta wait for her. So, yeah. Love all the cards.
I don't think we know enough about Path of the Champions yet, really, to talk much on it.
I mean, we do need to play it a little bit. We do need to play it first, but in terms of the PvE, we've been like told that they've been planning things on PvE for a while, and that, like, you know, Lab of Legends and Saltwater Scourge was like their first like dips of trying to perfect. And from what we've seen, just like image wise and whatnot, they've done a really good job. And I love the idea of what they've done is, as a replayability thing, it's the decisions that you make give you this like kind of like comic booky storyline, and that the storyline, like the endings are different depending on the path that you take, therefore giving you that replayability to like, obviously the replayability of Lab of Legends is just to do a different difficulty, but you're basically doing the same thing again and again and again. It's always, you're against, you know, Thrash, Sejuani and Victor, like always.
Yeah.
It's just decreasing the difficulty. And Saltwater Scourge, I feel, kind of missed the mark on replayability.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in terms of, like, you can't increase the what's his face? You can't increase the difficulty. Yeah, sure, you can go into it and you might be against like you could be against Swain, Karma, or Azir in the middle, but you're always going to be against Gangplank at the end. And for most of the parts, most things are genuinely the same.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like that one missed the boat.
Yeah,
on
I
it,
heavily agree on that.
but I'm interested to see what they're going to do with this in terms of like the idea that you can go down different storylines and get different endings. I'm hoping that there will be a difficulty setting like Lab of Legends. I feel like that's one of its like main appeals. Like you got like the hardcore people who are like, I want to go as hard as possible type PvG and beat like that sense of accomplishment that like not everyone's going to be able to do this. I like the idea that I hope that they instill that because it feels like they've said that they're taking like the best of both for this, so that's what I'm hoping for. But yeah, we look forward to playing it, and we'll let you know how it goes when we play it. Like, yeah.
I think unless you want to go over the cosmetics,
I mean, to be fair, like just a very quick briefing about the patch notes. Yeah, obviously they've got new skins. Vi's the only one getting a new level up animation, which actually is like a very funny level up animation.
Wicked sick, yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I love that level up animation because getting the hammer men involved. It's always nice to get the hammer men involved. Other than that, yeah, all the art is for the new Arcane champion or the new Arcane the already existing Arcane champions and Jace.
Yeah.
The bald looks amazing.
What about Victor? Poor Victor.
I mean, that's true. Yeah, you're right. You're right. There is no Victor. I do apologize. I was like just quickly glancing over them. Yeah, I feel like most of it's all good. I want to see the emotes. I'm loving the T emote.
Yes.
I'm loving the T emote with what's her name? Caitlyn looks amazing. Yeah, and we've also got a Jinx and Vi emote and whatnot. But I feel like the T one's the one that I like the most. Like, what's your opinions of the other two emotes?
I really like the T one because, but my problem with it is it's not as good as the Ezreal one, which is the same thing.
Yeah.
The Vi one opens up the opportunity. So when like your opponent has like lucked out completely and they've been like taunting you the entire game, and then at the end they try and Shen emote you. This is the good response to that, which we didn't really have before. Does that make it main boardable on your emote board? Maybe not. I'll try it out.
Yeah,
I'm all about the emote metagame.
You'll have to let us know how it goes. I would always keep Shadow mode because it's what I do.
Oh yeah, I have Shadow mode. I'm not a big fan of Vlad. You always keep Shen.
The one thing that I thought was interesting was as you go through these, like the free deck that they're or the deck bundle that they're offering is the Nami Jace deck, and it's just weird that the PNZ's got a different icon on that.
Oh yeah.
That's the only, I don't know why, but it's like PNZ without Zon.
PNZ in italics.
Exactly. Don't know why they've done that, but in terms of the changes that have been made through bug fixes, the one that I just want to highlight and say that I'm so happy is the one with Station Activist now correctly does the cost reduction when you use Great Mother, because before that was really annoying because Station Archivist is like, it says that they give you an exact copy of like go through the top few like cards of your deck and find the spells that you've got there and give you an exact copy of them. If you were to grab one that was made by Great Mother, it would be the original cost rather than the reduced cost down to free. So the fact that you can now do that,
that's so frustrating.
That's what I mean. It was because I thought that'd be like such a good way of getting out the Great Mother's spells, because it's literally basically go through the top spells and choose one. But sadly, it didn't used to work. So I'm actually happy to be able to test this out properly now and see how good that is. Because obviously, I know that Great Mother sometimes can't give you the greatest of spells, but I'm interested now.
Yeah. Shall we call it there?
I think we shall. Yes. So thank you so much for listening. If you want to lead us out as you started.
Yes. You can catch us on more places than you're listening to us now. We are available on Spotify and SoundCloud and YouTube, as well as our Twitches and our YouTubes, which will be linked in the description.
Yes.
We will probably be back in a couple of weeks to talk over our enjoyment of the new game mode as well as our experience with the new cards. But until then, unless there's anything you want to say,
No, that's all.
bye bye.
Bye-bye.